Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Bob Peoples, the Executive Director with CARE, the Carpet America Recovery Effort. Bob, how you doing?
Good morning, Kemp. I'm doing great. Hope you are as well.
It's good to talk to you. I just want to catch up with you. You're a busy man, and it's taken me a week or so to capture you to do this interview. I had wanted to talk mostly about this carpet recycling rate reaching a record high. So we ran that news a couple weeks ago. Tell us about that.
It's interesting, Kemp, because we accomplished these results in the pandemic year. We set a fourth quarter high in 2020 of 23.2% for our recycling rate, which is pretty significant given the huge drop we saw in the second quarter this year. It's driven quite a bit by the recovery in the residential sector, and I think your listeners know that the commercial sector is lagging behind pretty well.
Yeah.
But we now have the data for the full year of 2020, and it looks like our overall recycling rate was 21%, and that's versus 19% last year. So this continues a significant 5-year trend, up 107%, or on average, increasing 20% a year. So we're pretty excited about that. The recyclers have done a yeoman's job keeping themselves operational during 2020.
So tell us exactly what that means, that the high water mark that you've reached, that's the percentage of the carpet that's been removed, that's been diverted from the landfill?
That's right, Kemp. We have a formula to estimate the total discards that are taking place during a quarter or for the whole year.
Right.
And that becomes a denominator that's divided into the overall recycled output. So that's the ratio we call the recycling rate.
Okay.
And that's the new high water mark in Q4 and a new high water mark for the year of 2020. But I also want to point out to your listeners, we have another metric that's important, and that is the yield. The yield is really what's our efficiency with converting what we collect to recycled output. And that's running about 70%. So we are very good at turning what we collect into valued recycled output. Okay. And that's grown over the years from where we started, about 40%.
Yeah. And one of the hurdles that you've had to jump there is that during this process of CARE being in existence, carpet has shifted, the way it's made, and there's a lot more polyester. And there for several years, there was no waste stream outlet for polyester, but that's changed too, hasn't it?
It sure has, Kemp. In the process of setting our subsidies, we realized that we have a two-phase strategy that we've been executing for the last 5 years. Phase one was, how do we increase the capacity to process this material? How do we increase the number of products that contain this material and markets to buy those products? In the fall of 2019, we realized through the investments in technical support and grants that the recyclers had accomplished those objectives quite nicely, and now was time to turn our attention to phase two, which is the collection strategy. How do we make sure there's enough material to meet the demand in the market, which was growing nicely? Unfortunately, we launched that program, but the pandemic hit, so we lost about a year on it.
Yeah.
But right now, we have at least 10 initiatives that are focused on growing the collections in California right now, and I'm very excited to say that the landscape for 2021 looks like we'll see another good increase in recycled output as we see capacity coming online on all three of our major California-based recyclers.
Yeah. Now, we got to give a little shout-out to alcophil, because they're a big part of this, right?
Sure. They've just started up their plant in Woodland, California, just outside Sacramento. So they're one of the three that will be contributing to the growth in recycled output going forward in 2021. We're excited about what 2021 portends, barring any unforeseen events or, unfortunately, any resurgence of this pandemic.
Yeah. Now, I think we should just mention real quick that the funds that are collected when new product is sold, and what is that now, 25 cents a yard? What is it now?
Actually, 35 cents a square yard, Kemp. It's up 700% since the program began when it started at a nickel.
I know it. All right, so 35 cents. So those funds, you're the one that's in charge of dispersing those funds, and they go to the collector sorters, some of it does, but they also go to reward people for coming up with ideas, new developments that are waste stream outlets for used carpet, right?
That's correct, Kemp. We disperse those funds about, depending on any particular quarter, 70+% of the funds go directly to the recyclers who collect, process, and manufacture products out of that. But we also do a lot of education and outreach, and we give both grants to enable collections, processing, manufacturing, and testing and development of new products, and also technical assistance. So if somebody comes up with something they need some help with, we try to support that through our technical assistance program.
Yeah, let me give you a perfect example. This Ralph Bow polyol, that was a grant. You actually gave him some money that helped him develop this thing, right?
Yes, we did. He is a good example of what we're trying to do to grow new products and new outlets for the market. This is one of the things we did around the PC4, the post-consumer carpet calcium carbonate that comes from the backing.
Yeah.
This was a stream that had absolutely no value in the marketplace and no interest, and it wasn't until we put subsidies up to 17 cents per pound that the market opportunities began to manifest, and now we are recycling the vast majority of all the PC4 that's generated when you're liberating the face fiber. This is one of the key factors in driving our yield up so quickly to over 70%.
Now, there's one other little news story that we had this time set aside already, but then just yesterday there was this news item that came out of California that says that California has fined CARE. I mean, it's really kind of old news because you're being fined over something that happened, 2013 to 2015, right?
Yeah, that's right, Kemp. It is really kind of ancient news at this point. We're happy that we settled with Cal Recycle and we've got this behind us. The main reason is we want to focus on the strong results of 2020 and build on those moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's great to catch up with you. Thanks for giving us an update, and congratulations on getting this recycling rate up. The fourth quarter, it was 23.2, and you said for the year it was around 21. That's fantastic.
That's right.
Again, we're talking to Bob Peoples, the Executive Director with CARE, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and Florelli.net.